You're welcome. Ana Olarte. So, being that today is our first podcast, it was very important for me to pick someone that I looked up to, someone that has been integral in my real estate career for many reasons. So Ana has many hats in throughout the years that I've been working in real estate. So I thought not only do I look up to her in her personal achievements, but also how she handles this changing market of today. So here we have Ana Olarte.
Thank you, Zulu. Cheers. Morning coffee. So thank you so much for having me. And as you mentioned, um, I've been through many hats in my life. And as you know, I was in the banking industry. That was my last job, overseeing private banking division for about 17 years. And about 4 years ago, in early 2021, I decided to leave banking and focus working with my husband. And what we're doing now is we have different areas of our business. We do spec home construction, and then we have our own small residential portfolio. And obviously, you're our go-to real estate advisor, who plays a tremendous important role in our success. Do you want to go take the coffee?
Let's prosper
outside?
this beautiful weather.
It's just such a beautiful day that I feel like we should be out in the terrace and finishing this coffee up there. Want to go?
Sounds like a plan.
This is her residence right now where we're filming from, but we are enjoying of this glorious day today, overlooking at the open bay here in the Miami Shores area.
So, obviously, I recently moved into this house, and I wanted to pick your brain. I guess obviously 2024 was a year where people were more on the sidelines because it was an election year, right? Obviously, you're a real estate advisor, so we speak constantly about these topics. But what have you noticed, if anything, since the new election and new administration? Have you seen buyers more excited about the market, more of a seller market? What is the input that you can give me as of 2025?
Okay. Excellent question, Ana. So, as you mentioned, 2024 was a crucial year, and historically, election years are not good years for real estate. And what I'm saying is not a good year because it depends on which side you're on. Whether you're on the buyer side or the seller side. But historically, for neither, it's good because there's uncertainty, and that's the main focus here: uncertainty. Because many people, they could make moves, but they don't, waiting to see if the cards fall right for them.
Right.
So I particularly have seen that the market has improved. And when I'm saying improved is because if you look statistically last year, the sales had not met the same expectation that the previous years have brought post-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And Miami being a very particular niche, it's an area that usually doesn't follow the trends that you see like on the New York Post or national data, because this is an area where you have a lot of people that come from all over the world, and perhaps maybe they're bringing all their assets, their monetary assets, to invest in Miami, and so we attract many things that are not attracted in other parts of the country. So that being said, there were still a lot of people on the sidelines. So the interest was there. I would see it constantly. Every time that I would put a property for sale, then I would understand that the demand was there, but people were not ready to take that step forward because of the uncertainty. So switch pages. 2025 is here, new government, and so I am seeing. I've actually put a few properties for sale ever since the beginning of the year, and you know what? All of them are under contract right now.
That's amazing.
But that being said, it has taken a little bit longer than previous years. But we also have to understand that everyone got accustomed to the high demand that the pandemic brought, post-pandemic.
Right.
First, obviously, it was tough. And that's where a lot of strategic planning happened. And as a matter of fact, the property that we're sitting at now, this property was purchased during the pandemic times.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could have gone either way. A lot of uncertainty at that time, but when someone has their vision very clear and they understand this a long-term game, in this case, you guys, you ended up getting this lot at a very, very good price, and this is what it turned out to be. So to recap and answer your question, things have gotten better from last year. I see that there's a high demand, and that every day past January 1st, the demand keeps rising, and more properties are going under contract if it's the right property.
Right.
So that's another whole subject that we're going to need a few more cups of coffee to talk about. What is the right property, and what is the right investment, and what's the right type of end product that you're looking for, depending on the type of mission.
And I know my question was very broad. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's hard to decide whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, because you have to look at it from an individual perspective.
Sure.
Like, what makes sense for you as your individual picture? Do you want to sell the home because you've owned it for 15 years and you have tremendous equity? Or are you trying to sell a home that you bought 2 years ago to try to bet on the market? So, I guess it does depend on each person and each scenario. But I do have to agree with you that now that elections are passed and we have a new government, people are more relaxed, whether it's for the positive or the negative. We're not trying to be political here, but it's just now there's a decision, and we have a new president, and people like at least knowing that there's a certainty and it's not so ambiguous. So also with this administration, there's analysts they've been talking about that there's an expectation of interest rates to be lowered. Maybe once, twice. I think at some point they said maybe 4 times or so. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we do know that when interest rates go down, from a borrowing standpoint, it becomes a buyer's market because it's cheaper to get money. It's easier for people to afford homes that they couldn't afford before because of the interest rates. So if you're borrowing cheaper, there's momentum. There certainly is. Now, from a seller standpoint, I do think that, to your point earlier, after the pandemic, there was just this rise on prices, on demand, of influx from people. We're still seeing a lot of influx from people, especially California now after the fires. That's very unfortunate, but that's bringing a new group of people coming to Miami. So to your point, Miami is just a very different environment than anywhere else in the United States. So I do think that there's still some negotiating power from the buyer. There's a correction in the market, maybe not substantial, but I think there's just a little bit of more of a balancing, more of an economic and overall balancing of prices and demand and the time frame that it's taken to buy properties. I think before, we had a couple of deals that we wanted to buy, and if you don't respond within 24 hours after it's listed, like, it's gone. Mm-hmm. Now things are sitting down, they're staying in the market for a little bit longer. There's more opportunity. But I think Miami is Miami, and people always want to live here. I mean, there's this saying that we live where you vacation, and it's true. Look at this. Who wouldn't want to be here? But I do think, Miami is always, in the long run, it's going to be a good place to invest.
Tough to say, is it a buyer's market or seller's market right now? Because the uncertainty is just getting cleared every day as we speak. But we're still like this, because usually you have, buyer's market, seller market. Right now, we're still like this. Like, it's a balancing. I think it's a time where it's very important to focus on your mission and what is it that you're trying to accomplish, and understand try to predict where you are going, your particular scenario, and do the best that you can by having good advice, by understanding your finances, and connecting with the right people at all levels: purchase, sell, build, design, etc. So just knowing what you're after, and go for it full speed.
Thank you for having me at 305 Coffee Talk.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It was a pleasure.